I will publish now to all the assets that ships with Seneferu. I want to publish first the shader library. I will log in here. First of all, you will not find the task of the shader library here before you set these tasks to pending, and I will assign them to me so I can start publishing these tasks. As you notice that when anybody assign any tasks to you, you will receive notifications from your production manager telling you that this information that you are reading here, that the tasks are assigned to you, and when it's pending or ready to start, it will also tell you that the task is ready to start. Now you will see the tasks here. Of course, notice that Seneferu wants you to do the delayed tasks first, but of course nothing is delayed. I actually didn't plan or schedule the project delivery, so don't worry about that for now. Say project shader library is the first thing I want to do. What I did is that I imported all the shaders that ships with Seneferu. I imported them into Maya. Now let's see how to publish these shaders. The first thing you will have to do is to select all the shaders. Make sure to deselect the Maya shading groups. Keep just the shaders that we want to publish. Now go to your script editor and copy this script. First of all, run this, then read the comments to see what should be done. First of all, we have to select the shading groups as I did. Then let's run this. Now we want to retarget the assets information to our new project. You will have to put the project name of your new project here and run this. Notice that this, what I'm doing now is something that you have to do just once when you create a new project. You don't need to do this again, but this is how you can publish the ready to run assets that ships with Seneferu. Now this will create the tasks related to these shaders and will publish all of them in the shader library, and will also set the task to approved, as I said here, to force the status to approved. By running this, now the system is, as you see, created the task for the Chrome shader, and after creating the task is publishing the shader to it. If you go here in the assets, now you will start seeing that the shaders are created and the tasks for them are created. Then once the publish done, you will notice that the status became approved, and once this is done, then now you will be having all these shader assets in your project database. sorry, I did something wrong here. Actually, I didn't tell him to publish. So this, what happened is that he created the tasks but didn't publish them. So I will just run this again. Don't worry, nothing, there's no problem to do that. It's just since the tasks are already there, Seneferu will not recreate them, but he will just publish the assets to the previously created tasks. This now should be the right thing. Now the tasks are published one by one. Note that you cannot do this for anything that you are importing in Maya, but this has to be a previously created asset that has asset information. Otherwise, none of these methods are going to work. Now, once all the shaders are published, if you look at now the dependencies of the shader library, you will find that all the shader that you have just published become dependencies to the shader library. We have nothing to do with the shader library in Maya actually, because the published shaders themselves are going to be resolved in render time on objects based on the object tags. If you are going to use the Maya shader resolve methods to do and doing the lighting in Maya, then using this interface, the Maya the shaders will be resolved and the texture assignment on each shader for each object is going to be resolved in render time when you are using our shader library, because this is how the shader library was made. And of course you can create your own shaders by creating a shader task here, like for example creating anything like wood damaged, for example, and you can set it to shaders and regular and click on add. Then you can publish your own shader, and this will also be a shader that resolves the textures in render time as exactly how it happens with shaders that we ship with Seneferu. Anyway, this is beyond the scope of what we are doing now, because we will see this later when we are going through Seneferu pipeline. But just for now, you can see that all the shaders are published, and currently only one version. Let me remove this. Currently only one version is there for each shader. Later, when you update any of these shaders to another version, 2 or 3 or 4, if the new version is approved, then this is going to affect the render of all the scenes and sets or objects or assets that are using this shader. This way you can have a consistent look from scene to scene and shot to shot. And of course there are ways to override this if you want to have one set is rendered with different versions of the shaders. Although this is not recommended, it's always recommended that you have the same shader, work on it enough to make it consistent, test it in different lighting situations until you make sure that this is the results that you want to get. Otherwise, revise the textures rather than revising the shader itself. If you notice what was published here, by the way, you will notice that Seneferu published, according to the processes control table, Seneferu published 2 files for each shader, which is the Maya scene of the shader and the cat.py. The cat.py is a Katana Python file that recreates the same shader network exactly as we did it in Maya. If you look at the shading network for any of these tasks, you will notice that there are a lot of things happening here. So what the cat.py file is going to do is that it will create exact copy of this shader inside Katana, as you are going to see now.